First ever time when I fought in January, the earliest I've ever fought. It's going to ruin my Christmas dinner and my birthday because I'm 31 like 3 weeks before it. But it's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head. And Paddy the Baddie is a world champion. And 2026 is going to be the biggest year of my life. I am coming for that interim title. Then I'll be making it the undisputed title when I come and beat Ilia Topuria up and take the undisputed title. And then little posh boy, if he manages to fight in that time, because he likes sitting out and saying he's got a sore back, if little posh boy fights in that time and keeps his ranking, I'll punch his head in as well.
All right, let's get into it. So, obviously you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
Oh, an interim champion basically means the number one contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well, 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy Pimblett. Now, talking about the matchup, of course, it is an easier fight for Justin than what it is against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest of all time. Islam Makhachev, the current pound for pound, and according to many people, a man that is surpassing Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So in that regard, it is an easier matchup. Will Paddy be able to take him down? Will he dance around the octagon? Yes, he will. Will he try and replicate the game plan of Max Holloway? Of course he will. Who wouldn't try and do that? You aren't going to stand and go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje because the man does have knockout power. But underestimate...
After Dana White announced the fight, things moved fast. Paddy Pimblett didn't waste any time and immediately started training for Justin Gaethje. No waiting, no excuses, just focused work every day. He's been putting in the hours, sharpening his striking, mixing in grappling, and getting ready for the biggest challenge of his career. Fans are already buzzing, curious to see how Paddy will handle this fight and what kind of performance he can put on against one of the toughest opponents in the division.
I would think that that's a good chance for Paddy to win, but with real risks about his defensive striking along the way. Yeah. And really, obviously, as we all could understand, a last hurrah, certainly, for Justin Gaethje.
Dana kept it simple when he talked about Paddy and Justin. He explained that since Ilia isn't fighting in the first quarter because of personal issues, the UFC needed someone to hold the spot. That's why Paddy and Justin were put in for the interim belt. He made it clear that the winner will face Ilia later, so this fight is not just about bragging rights. It decides who gets the next big title shot.
All right, let's get into it. So, obviously you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
Michael Bisping looked at Paddy versus Justin, and the first thing he pointed out was the danger in front of Paddy. He said Justin is older now, but still hits very hard and still fights at a crazy pace. He talked about Justin's power, his leg kicks, his pressure, and how hard it is for any lightweight to deal with him. Bisping reminded everyone that Justin only looked bad in the Holloway fight because he got caught clean, but that is not what Justin usually looks like. He said Justin is the kind of guy who will walk you down, throw heavy shots, and force you into a tough fight.
Down the line, because there's certainly a storyline built in, but this is a very, very tough competitive matchup. Now, Justin Gaethje is no spring chicken. I think he's 36 years old. But you know what you're going to get with Justin Gaethje. Yes, of course, against Max Holloway at UFC 300, he got knocked out. He got embarrassed. He got face planted. I'll tell you what, it was a shocking scene, okay? But that's not normally what happens with Justin Gaethje. He is one of the most exciting fighters. They do call him the human highlight reel for a reason. He's got great wrestling, but the boxing, the striking, the leg kicks, the punch power that he has. I'm telling you, this man...
Then Bisping talked about why Paddy has a real chance. He said Paddy looked like a different level fighter in the Chandler fight and proved he can deal with pressure and big moments. He said Paddy is moving better, striking cleaner, and his confidence is higher than ever. Bisping also said Paddy will not stand still for Justin. He thinks Paddy will try to move a lot, use speed, mix in takedowns, and make Justin chase him. He also pointed out that Paddy is already in great shape, and that gives him a big boost going into a fight like this. Bisping said people underestimate Paddy too fast, and that Justin cannot just rely on power because Paddy has shown he can adjust.
Is no joke, and neither is Paddy Pimblett, right? We saw last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC, he put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that. But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddle bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the best shape of his life. And he didn't even have a fight announced. Okay?
He said that everyone knows an interim champ is basically the #1 contender, but if Paddy wins this, it would be huge for the UK. And for Justin, this feels like his last big shot after already having 2 title fights before. The matchup is easier for him than facing guys like Khabib or Islam, but Paddy won't just stand in front of him. He'll move, mix it up, and try to avoid that power. Still, Justin can't underestimate him.
An interim champion basically means the #1 contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well, 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy Pimblett. Now, talking about the matchup, of course, it is an easier fight for Justin than what it is against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest of all time. Islam Makhachev, the current pound for pound, and according to many people, a man that is surpassing Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So in that regard, it is an easier matchup. Will Paddy be able to take him down? Will he dance around the octagon? Yes, he will. Will he try and replicate the game plan of Max Holloway? Of course he will. Who wouldn't try and do that? You aren't going to stand and go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje because the man does have knockout power. But underestimate...
Luke Thomas discussed the fight itself and said it is a very clear matchup between a striker and a grappler. Justin is the cleaner puncher and hits really hard. And Luke said Paddy's habit of keeping his chin high makes him easy to catch. He said Justin does not need many chances, just 1 good shot, and that could put Paddy in big trouble fast. But Luke also said Paddy has something that Justin struggles with, which is back takes. If Paddy gets behind Justin's elbows or grabs a tight body lock, he can drag him down and climb on his back. And once Paddy gets there, he is hard to shake off.
How do you think that exactly goes? Gaethje on the feet and Paddy on the ground. So let's talk about the fight itself. It's a great question. There's just no doubt in my mind, a bit of a striker versus grappler. Paddy can strike for sure, but he leaves his chin in the air. It's a real tough test for Paddy, but the problem is we all know Gaethje has just, of course, he's got good defensive wrestling, but as you saw with Khabib, if you just force him to his hands or there's different ways for him to get to his back, once you do that, it's, it's a problem. He seems like a fish out of water at this point. So Paddy, who is a back specialist, both in obtaining it and then maintaining position, that's very advantageous. At the same time, he's got a little bit of that going on, and I think a guy like Gaethje can still send his chin into orbit. So very much a striker versus grappler, but it just feels like Paddy is big for the weight class, and all he really has to do is clinch and then get behind the elbows, and then that's which he can do.
He said the odds might be close. Paddy is big for the weight class and only needs a good clinch to drag Justin down. But at the same time, Justin can land 1 clean shot and make the fight change instantly. Luke also said this fight feels like Justin's final big run and Paddy's big chance to prove he can hang at the top. He said it is a real test for both.
All he has to do is level change, not get it, and then just sort of come up and get behind one of the elbows. You're in on the body lock, and now it's a problem because then he can just force him. He can either Kosoto hook, trip him out, force him to his hands. So I would imagine Paddy might be – it's going to be close, I think, in the odds. I don't want to say what the odds would be because that's really not my forte in any kind of way. But I would imagine that the odds are probably going to be kind of close. I would think that that's a good chance for Paddy to win, but with real risks about his defensive striking along the way. Yeah. And really, obviously, as we all could understand, a last hurrah, certainly, for Justin Gaethje.
Din Thomas thinks Justin Gaethje has a big advantage over Paddy Pimblett. He says Justin is still very dangerous and hard to handle once he gets going. Paddy is smart and tricky in the cage, but Justin's power and aggression can catch anyone eventually. Thomas feels Paddy might struggle to avoid Justin's heavy strikes because he can't take him down easily. Over 5 rounds, Thomas believes Justin's ability to be violent and keep pressure on Paddy will force mistakes from Paddy, making it hard for him to win.
Oh, I'm leaning towards Gaethje for sure.
Yeah?
I think absolutely. I mean, just Gaethje he's still a banger, man. And it's somewhat like Paddy's crafty. Paddy's really crafty, and he's shown that he can withstand certain things and he can hang around with certain guys. But I just think when Justin Gaethje gets rolling downhill and the amount of violence, and he's able to catch up to people. Like you can try to be crafty as you possibly can with Justin Gaethje, but eventually he's going to catch up to you, and you got to.
He also mentions that while Paddy has shown he can hang with tough opponents, he doesn't have the experience or the skills to match someone like Justin when the fight really gets serious. Justin can control fights with his pace and violence, and that will likely be a big problem for Paddy. Even though Justin is getting older, Thomas thinks he's still very effective and can handle Paddy without much trouble. Thomas points out that this fight might actually be Paddy's best shot at a UFC title. He says Justin is at the later stage of his career and wants to secure his legacy with another belt. Thomas thinks this matchup is special because it gives Paddy a realistic chance, even if Justin is still the favorite.
Stand up and fight him. Max Holloway was able to do that. Like Max Holloway was, he was obviously doing very well, but then when he sat down on his punches, I mean, we saw what happened. So I'm not sure that Paddy Pimblett has the ability to do that, and I'm pretty sure Paddy Pimblett can't take Gaethje down. So I'm leaning towards Gaethje, in fact, pretty heavily actually.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much, but over 5 rounds, it is an interesting fight. I mean, we'll see if Paddy can get Gaethje, or he can get on top of him. We saw how violent he was against Michael Chandler, so that would be interesting. But yeah, the task is getting Justin to his back first, because he's not easy to take down either.
No, and we've seen him. He's moving. Justin Gaethje's moving better, but when he wants to really sit down and be violent, he can. And I think that's going to present problems for Paddy. It's going to force Paddy to make some mistakes, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to take the amount of punishment that Justin Gaethje's able to dish out.
MMA Guru thinks Paddy Pimblett has a real chance to beat Justin Gaethje. He says Paddy is smart with distance, keeping a good range and not getting too close where Justin can land big shots. Paddy throws combinations with volume, like 1-2s and jump knees, and mixes in dynamic moves that could give him an edge. MMA Guru also notes that Justin has been through a lot of tough fights and is getting older, while Paddy is coming into his prime and is in great shape for this matchup.
Paddy Pimblett, I reckon Pimblett's going to win. He keeps at very good range, keeps his distance a lot, doesn't get caught up in the pocket too much, throws in volume when he does throw a lot of the time with his 1-2, 1-2, and then a jump knee, and a lot of dynamic things that can get the better of Gaethje. Plus, he's going to mix in the takedowns. And Gaethje's getting up there in his career. He's just going through more and more wars, more and more scraps, a ton of time off. Pimblett coming into his prime, has been in shape for a while for this matchup as well.
And he believes Paddy can mix striking and grappling effectively. MMA Guru thinks Paddy might even submit Justin because he has good back control and can stick to him in positions where submissions are possible. He compares it to what Fiziev did, keeping Justin in control positions, and says Paddy has the skills to hold Justin down and capitalize on mistakes. MMA Guru feels this could let Paddy take the fight either by submission or by ground and pound, especially in the second round.
There you go. This is an amazing fight. This is a banger matchup. And I do think Pimblett will win. I think Pimblett will probably sub him as well. I think he'll mix it up. Takedowns, striking, something Fiziev did, but doesn't have the jiu-jitsu to keep a hold of Gaethje with. And Fiziev kept Gaethje down in like an inverted triangle position for like the majority of round 1. I know Gaethje's somewhat decent at scrambling, but it turns out Chandler has no ability to control in any way whatsoever without throwing himself off the top of someone and ending up on bottom, or messing it up completely and using a ton of energy for no success. So I think Pimblett's got that back-taking ability. Pimblett's got that control, that stick to you, that get you in a submission position type jiu-jitsu, which is obviously any type of jiu-jitsu, but you know what I mean? He's got that level that I think is going to be able to keep Gaethje down with his back taken for a while in this fight. So I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett here. I'm going to say Pimblett wins this fight by TKO to ground and pound in the second round or a submission win in the second round. And we'll see what happens. Because after that, he's going to be fighting Ilia Topuria.
So that's what the experts are saying about Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Some think Justin's power, experience, and ability to stay aggressive will be too much for Paddy to handle. Others believe Paddy's skills, movement, and timing give him a real chance to pull off a win. It's one of those matchups where anything can happen, and both fighters bring something exciting to the cage. Paddy has already started his training camp, and according to some experts, he's been ready even before the fight was officially announced. He's focused, in great shape, and clearly treating this as a huge opportunity. That preparation could make a big difference when it comes to facing someone as tough and dangerous as Justin. This fight is shaping up to be fast-paced, full of action, and possibly even a finish. So, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below who you think will come out on top. Are you backing Justin's experience and power or Paddy's skill and strategy?